This is in regards to Summer Moon Utah Wells and her so-called media manager, Tim Mullen. Summer Moon Utah Wells was 5 years old at the time of her disappearance, June 15th, 2021. She was reported missing around 6:30 p.m. on June 15th of 2021. She was last seen wearing a pink shirt and gray pants, although it was first initially put out that she was wearing gray shorts, which you would think she would be considering how hot it was outside, but apparently she was wearing gray pants and a pink shirt. And I'm wanting to know if the pink shirt she was wearing and the gray pants she was wearing was the same as in the last photo taken of her. And if she went missing in that outfit, it was really hot out, and that concerns me, and it always has, that if she did happen to wander off and she was wearing that, I mean, it's really hot for that. But she was also said to be barefoot, possibly barefoot, thought to be barefoot. So I don't know. It's hard to say with Dawn and Candace, because were they even paying attention to what she was wearing? It's hard to tell. And she had a shaved head. Her head was shaved completely down to the skin at one point. She does have blonde hair, straight blonde hair, and blue eyes. She was said to be only 3 feet tall, though she was likely closer to 4 feet tall, 3.5, 4 feet tall. She was also said to be only 40 pounds, which is said to be the average weight of a 5-year-old girl when I Google it, but that seems really light to me. My 2-year-old son's almost 40 pounds. I mean, he's a big boy, but still. So this website here, findsummerwells.com, I just want to point it out, Tim. This is really hard to view, and you have to scroll it all the way back up to the top if you pause for a second after you let go of the mouse, because it won't take you back to this part right here. If you scroll down too far, it won't let you scroll back up. So I don't know what's up with this website, but you can't read it all either. And the text lays over text, and it makes it really hard to read. I was just hoping maybe by now you could find a way to fix that. Oh, see, it won't let me scroll back up. Nope, it won't let me. I have to do this to be able to view this again. See, I just think it could be easier to maneuver the website. It'd be easier to find information about Summer if the website was easier to access. There's a lot of people that don't know about Summer that just recently found out about Summer. And there's a lot of people that have known about Summer for a couple of years now, and we all refer to this website time and time again, and especially new people coming in, that don't really know, how are they supposed to read this? Anyways, I just wanted to point that out because it was bothering me. All right. Now this post here, this is on Find Summer Wells Facebook, facebook.com/findsummerwells. And it's posted April 5th of this year. So you have to scroll down a little bit to find it, but it's on there. Here's a couple of the other things that are posted before it. And this is the post where he says that they're not looking for justice. He says, we are not looking for justice. We are looking for you to receive glory and show us all that you have been here all the time, resurrected and completely in charge of the whole journey Summer has set the world upon. All right. He also says, this is your script. This is your narrative. You hold all the receipts. We're not looking for justice. Well, Tim, actually, we are. We are looking for Summer and justice for Summer. First, we need to find Summer. And in my opinion, you're not really doing a lot to help that. You're just trying to support Don and Candace, which is fine, but you're doing it aggressively, and there's no need for that. This is a forever 5 or possibly 7-year-old girl that we're talking about here, and you don't need to be this aggressive on the Find Summer Wells Facebook page towards YouTubers that are trying to help find her and find answers for her and seek justice for her when the time comes. And keep her face out there and keep talking about her and keep telling other people about her. These are people that you should want around, and even though you might not agree with everything that they say, you can monitor whether people are being respectful or responsibly speculating or not by going into chats and maybe being nice and saying, hey, could you reword that, or say in your opinion, please, or something like that. You don't have to make vile posts like this. In my opinion, it's vile because of the language you used in the place where this post is on Find Summer Wells official family Find Summer Wells Facebook page, and you post words like trigger warning words. Like, legit, I have to say trigger warning before I can even read your post, and it's on Summer's Find Summer Wells Facebook page. That's not professional at all, in my opinion. I don't know if you're aiming to be professional. It sure doesn't seem like you are. I'm no professional. I'm not aiming to be professional, but I at least try to remain respectful. And that post wasn't even respectful at all. But okay. So this was written by Tim Mullen, Don and Candace's defender, Summer's so-called media manager, the man that runs FindSummerWells.com and the Find Summer Wells Facebook page, and this can be found on Find Summer Wells Facebook page, as I just showed you. It was posted by Tim Mullen himself on April 5th. Never mind all the wording he uses in this and trigger warning. Like I said, it's not suitable for children, although Tim himself, the professional he isn't, posted this with the R word and all, because Tim has no shame. So it says, Find Summer Wells. To the YouTubians who have channels that may end up being taken down, why doesn't he just say the names of the channels he is talking about, or talk to them personally? If you, plural, even slightly continue to accuse the Wells of child trafficking, which I really haven't heard anyone do this, but there are a lot of channels out there. I haven't heard any creator outright accuse the Wells of trafficking any of their children, but I'm sure people have. I have heard Mary discuss her shed theory, and I've heard other creators and subscribers talk about it, but I haven't heard, that I can remember, a creator actually accuse the Wells of trafficking their children. If you, Tim goes on, describe the house as a dungeon, and in my opinion, that basement was comparable to a dungeon, or pulsate out any verbal garbage that abuses the ears and hearts of the Wells children who will hear it, kind of like in your journey videos and your posts that you make, Tim, like this post itself. Tim, remember when you said you smelled rotting flesh and suddenly Summer missing became very real? What about the things Don and Candace has said themselves on YouTube that would abuse the ears and hearts of their own children? What about the things they probably said in their own home with their children? And then Tim goes on, regardlessly, which I didn't even know was a word, how fluently or fluidly it is presented. So here I think he is talking about bigger channels that make their streams like a whole presentation with the music and the cool aesthetics, like Josh from the Lab and Chris McDonough, for example. Probably Voices Behind the Wall he's probably talking about too, I would imagine, and probably a couple other ones. Tim's letter continues. At the least, your channel will be shut down. What else will he be able to do besides shut someone's channel down? Like, ooh, okay, well, just make another one. It's not like he's going to press charges on somebody or something, you know, or hunt someone down and ruin their life. I don't think what he means, I don't know what he means by that. It sounds threatening and like he's trying to intimidate a group of people, or at least a few certain people, and I highly doubt he succeeded in scaring them. He probably got more laughs than anything, honestly, but I find it very unprofessional and immature, and I think he is airing his grievances on findsummerwells.com and on Find Summerwell's Facebook, which is highly inappropriate. And if I was an investigator on Summer's case reading this, I would be raising my eyebrows like, wow, this man is really hard for Don and Candace, but not so much for Summer. And that's suspicious. He rides hard for Don and Candace, but not for Summer. Why? Maybe we should look into if this dude knows anything about Summer's disappearance or anything that could help us in our investigation, because it wouldn't surprise me if Tim has heard and seen things he really wasn't supposed to, and he would keep it on the down low for Don. I truly believe that. I think he probably would for Candace too, just because she's Don's wife. Never mind the fact that Summer could be out there somewhere, and Summer is out there somewhere, but never mind the fact that she could be out there anywhere. And people around the world could be seeing this and thinking, what in the world is this? Is this a joke? And might not even take it seriously because of the stuff that Tim posts and the way the website is set up. That's just my opinion. And it's the man responsible for Summer's media management making it seem that way. That's unacceptable in my opinion, and the only thing we can do is call him out and warn people about his behavior. People can make up their own mind about what they think and how they feel about Tim Mullen, and at the end of the day, I believe Tim Mullen should be looked into, just for the fact that maybe he might know something that he is protecting Don on. Maybe he did see something he shouldn't have on one of Don's devices, or maybe Don doesn't even realize it, or maybe he does, and that's why Tim has control over him, or who knows. All I know is Tim's involvement in Summer's case has been suspicious to me and a lot of people since I first saw him shushing at the prayer vigil when someone went to take a picture of him or record him, and he was like, shh. And that's where he allegedly met Don. It's like people didn't want him to know he was there. Why? And then he had to turn around and be like, oh, that's where I met Don? I don't know. It's weird. It's fishy. Don tells us they met flying gyrocopters in the yard at 110. They were arguing or something over the airspace because Tim was trying to fly his gyrocopter and Don was like, what the hell are you doing in my yard? And Tim's like, it's free airspace. Something like that. So, which was it, Tim? Where did you all meet? That's weird that you guys wouldn't be honest about that. That's a huge red flag to me. I really do think Tim Mullen needs to be looked into. I'm not saying he has Summer Wells, but he could have something to do with some corruption in our case, and it wouldn't surprise me if he did, and that's how I feel. I'm not telling anybody else how to think. That's just how I feel. Did Don not remember meeting Tim at the prayer vigil, and maybe that's why he thinks that's not where they met? Have they known each other since before Summer's disappearance and they're both lying? Who knows? Tim's post continues. Furthermore, what is done has been reported. So what Tim finds to be defamatory or harassing towards Don and Candace, and whatever else he finds suitable to turn over to law enforcement, has been turned in, and what is being investigated or is being thrown out, because it's our constitutional right to say what we want on our own channels. Given that we are following community guidelines, it's fine. And since when was Tim against free speech? Even though most of us are just talking and giving our opinions and speculating on the case, not even wasting our time hating on Don or Candace, but just trying to put together something that makes sense about June 15th, 2021, a lot of us are just trying to keep Summer the hot topic because we don't want her to be forgotten. We want her to be found and see justice. Tim continues. You have become the digital child abusers. You have become the digital woman beaters. So now here, Tim is making everyone that has anything negative to say about Don Wells or Candace Bly out to be abusers. He refers to it as digital abuse as if that is equal to real life abuse. Child abusers, because Summer's brothers and possibly one day Summer could see all of this stuff on YouTube, and it's abusive towards the boys, in Tim's opinion, even though those boys shouldn't be unsupervised on the internet at all until they're old enough to be trusted to be able to handle it themselves. But everything he has done to protect Don and Candace and not the children doesn't exactly look good on him. Tim's not perfect by any means. Well, nobody is. But Summer deserves better than this for her media manager. Why can't we vote Tim out and let her have someone who is truly dedicated to advocating for Summer Wells and not her parents, who are suspects still in her disappearance? Tim goes on. It is bad enough that you digitally beat on another man's wife or use her for self-glory. But after all this time, to continue to have no respect for the children is intolerable. First of all, Tim, how do you know those children weren't abused by their parents? I'm not saying they were or they weren't. I'm saying there's a possibility that they were, given they were taken by CPS, and I highly doubt that's because Don was drinking. There had to have been another reason for it all, meaning the boys and Summer's CPS case to have been initiated in the first place. If CPS was up there before Summer disappeared, there was probably already a case open on her and the boys. How can any of us know for sure, as those records would be sealed to the public? We speculate it based on rumors we have heard from the people closest to Don and Candace, and by the behaviors of Don and Candace themselves. Nobody on YouTube knows the real Don and Candace, in my opinion, except Don and Candace. I highly doubt they come on here at their worst. We might think we've seen them at their worst with their daughter missing, but I feel in my heart that there have been many worse instances of abuse on that hill between Don and Candace prior to Summer going missing than what we've seen on here, based on their behaviors and other factors such as drug use and the condition of their home, which speaks to me in ways that are not good. I can only pray that any of the children never got in between any of the potential violence in that home. Tim goes on. Your opinions or possible theories are a vile poison whose effects will show up in the Wells children's lives. So are we all supposed to keep our speculation to ourselves? Because I hate to break it to you, Tim, but that's not how true crime community works. And that's not how the Summer Wells community works. We're capable of speculating responsibly as we are adults, and we will continue to do that, probably even after Summer is found. People are still going to have their speculations, and they're going to come here and they're going to talk about it. Because where else do people go to talk about true crime but a community of other people talking about it? Summer Wells falls into the category of true crime. Summer Wells is her entire own category because of the behavior of her parents on YouTube. It's nothing like anyone has ever seen. It's unlike anything I have ever seen to witness a man admit to sexually assaulting his own sisters and then turn around and blame them and then continue to talk to and about them like they're absolute trash. Which, by the way, I would like to take a moment to say that I am so sorry Mary and Jeannie had to go through everything that they went through with Don. Their strength must be immense. Probably close to untouchable, if I had to guess. They deserve the best of the best for having to deal with Don. Tim continues, "You are not entitled nor have the credentials to have to know anything. Tim, why wouldn't you encourage Don and Candace to be as transparent as possible and tell us everything they can think of about June 15th so that we, the public, can do all we can to help them find their missing daughter, Summer? Why wouldn't you want the people to know everything they can about Summer? Really, though, more importantly, why would her parents not want that? But it is your own short-sighted decision," Tim continues, "to harm the Wells children with your verbal slanders, defamations, lower shed talk, basement insinuendos, and torturous, unbridled imaginations about the Summer Wells case or unrelated family matters you have manipulated out of the vulnerable." So, who is you? And who is the vulnerable? You being the creators he is targeting here, and the vulnerable being their audiences? So you're saying creators are speculating and their subscribers and viewers are spreading rumors based on the speculation done by the creators, and it's harming Don and Candace, right? Because I don't exactly follow everything you say, Tim, because you're not clear and concise. You're like the Riddler, an enigma. Tim continues, "You are not law enforcement. Well, neither are you, Tim. And you not only have harmed Summer's case, but you continue to harm the children for profit. Tim, have you ever considered that you could be harming the case by holding Don and Candace back from being on national media, which would draw worldwide attention to Summer?" Tim goes on, "You cry delusional SA while being DA, digital abusers." Am I the only one that thinks Tim is minimizing SA? He knows Don has admitted to sexually abusing his stepsisters, and when he says things like he showers with Summer every single night because he doesn't want her to be all sticky in bed with him, people are going to wonder. You can't take someone's channel down because they talk about why Don and Candace make themselves look suspicious. If it's so harmful to Don and Candace, they need to log off. It's obviously more important to them to be here to push their narrative than it is to be here to talk about Summer. And it means more to them to push their narrative than the hate hurts them, obviously. You know what I mean? Tim only enables their stories that make no sense and tries to silence some of the people that care the most about finding Summer. There are people around here that have serious trauma that binds them to the case. Some people have a child the same age as Summer or have had a child go missing themselves, and that binds them to the case. There are a lot of people here that truly have compassion for Summer and for finding her. And Tim wants to silence us all unless we are on Don and Candace's side. But many of these people are calling it as they see it and thinking for themselves and stating their opinions and how they see it. There's nothing wrong with that. The internet is a big place, Tim. There's room for us all. All the more people to know about Summer, to talk about Summer, to show her face and tell other people about her. Get her name out there as much as possible because Summer could be anywhere, right? It's just that we won't be silent in this case until Summer is found or there is justice. And the only people making it a shit show are her parents and the people enabling them. And that's the truth. There are going to be people of all sorts anywhere you go, including on the internet. You can't control how people think and what their opinions are. We can talk about it. That's what we do here. You can't come here and dictate how people think and feel about Summer Wells, or anything for that matter. Her army will only grow stronger the more you try to strike them down. Are you a part of Summer's army, Tim? It's not too late to do the right thing and take this post down and get Summer all the attention that you can now. Even though you don't want that for Don and Candace, you should want that for Summer. Tim continues, not only are you a sore in the side of law enforcement, but you are a shame to the United States of America's constitutional federal republic. Tim, this entire post is a shame to the Constitution if you really want to go there. You are trying to silence people that are stating their thoughts and opinion as they have the right to do. Everyone should be able to feel open to discuss their theories. What if there are people that have been following all along and dedicated so much of their life to Summer that could actually have some potential leads? Just because we're not law enforcement, we're people just like them. We could all work together instead of arguing with each other. If Don and Candace truly think Summer was abducted, they should be here telling everyone everything they can about Summer as much as they can. They should want the help of anybody, whether they hate them or not, and not just law enforcement, who they claim to not even trust. They turned to YouTube for help, but didn't give us anything to work with. Now they act like they're trapped here, yet still have nothing to say about Summer. It makes no sense. Tim continues, teaching citizens to spy on citizens. It's not spying, Tim. It's armchair detectives trying to do their part as a citizen to learn all they can to help find Summer. Maybe there was some spying going on. Maybe there was. But what creator is teaching what citizen to spy? Tim goes on. Degrade citizens. He means the suspects. With vain imaginations. He means us YouTubians' imaginations. Using digital dictator torture techniques. Someone please explain to me what in the hell he means by digital dictator torture techniques. Because as many times as I read it and try to understand it, I can't. I literally have no idea what he means by this. Please stop talking in riddles, Tim. This one went over my head. I'm not going to lie. Tim goes on. It's not American. You are helping create a monster that borders on treason as you degrade the value of USA law enforcement or try to redefine it. Who's trying to redefine the value of law enforcement? So, Tim, am I betraying my country by stating my opinion on Don and Candace being guilty of Summer's disappearance? That doesn't even make sense. But it almost sounded good, Tim. You're fighting a lost cause, in my opinion, Tim. He continues, there are social media rules. There are local laws. There are federal laws. Correct, Tim. And that shouldn't be your main concern right now. Your concern should be keeping Summer's name fresh and continuing to push her face across America. Not what the laws are and how you can use them to get people to stop using Don and Candace's name in a negative light. Because you can't keep people from talking about whatever they want to talk about. Hold on one second. Somebody's coming to my door. All right. Posting this actually makes it worse, in my opinion. You're only shining a light on the so-called problem and making things worse on yourself. You're making people feel like they have to pick a side instead of just focusing on keeping the facts out there for Summer. I guess what I'm trying to say is Tim should stay in his lane. He's not doing Don or Candace any favors by posting this. Tim goes on. Potentially destroying the mental health of her brothers is not helping find Summer and could easily be called digital child abuse. There are many things on YouTube and the internet in general that the boys should not use as children they should not as children be viewing in the first place. The children should be supervised if they are on the internet at all until they're old enough to be trusted on the internet by themselves, like I was saying before, and not view those things that would be hard on their mental health that they wouldn't understand because they're too young now. Children shouldn't ever be online unsupervised. Tim, that shouldn't be happening in the first place. Tim continues, regardless. Of course, they are seeing or hearing your tormenting verbiage, but why would they be, Tim? They are with a hopefully loving and attentive foster family that should be looking after them like Don and Candace should have been. Tim goes on. Likewise, attacking another man's wife and potentially her mental health could easily be called digital raping. So, never mind the language Tim uses without so much as a trigger warning. He is using the word rape on Find Summerwell's Facebook page, a page designed to help find a girl that was only 5 years old when she went missing. That word has no place on this page coming from you, Tim, or anyone for that matter. Tim unfortunately continues. There is no difference if the channel manager says it or if the channel manager allows someone else to say it on the channel without immediately negating it. Tim telling people how to run their channels, how to use their mods. This is what I mean when I say stay in your lane, Tim. You're telling people how to run their channels, what they can and cannot say. That's not up to you. But he still goes on. And do you have a clue if your channel's listeners are all stable? Yes, I have a clue that they're not all stable. There are all sorts of people on here. I'm sure there are people on YouTube that are unstable emotionally, and that could be the whole reason they're here in the first place. That doesn't mean they're going to show up at 110 with a weapon ready to hurt somebody. Is that what you're implying, though? The outrage is real, but for someone to go that far would be pretty extreme. I think someone that unstable and violent wouldn't be here in the Summerwells community in the first place, but I could be wrong. Tim goes on. Are there those being psychotically fed by you and will respond in dangerous ways? And to whomever, the day the FBI bows to you and uses all your tools to help will be the day your tools might be very slightly considered. Bias is not a tool even remotely needed at this time. Tim, I will say the same thing to you that you have said to all of us. You are not law enforcement. Who are you to talk to us like this? And who are you to tell us we can't have our opinions? How do you know what is needed at this time? I believe what is needed at this time is for Summer to just be found already, for her parents to come clean about what they really know so that she can be found. And this is how I feel, and I am not afraid to say it because I know in the end, if her parents turn out to be totally innocent, that all along I was just stating my opinions and saying how I feel, and I can't be sorry for that because it just is what it is, and we all have our own thoughts. But of course, I would still apologize. I just happen to be sharing my thoughts because I enjoy creating content, and it makes me feel like I am contributing something towards helping to keep Summer's name out here and keeping people talking about her. And of course, the suspects in her disappearance are going to be discussed. It goes on. Conclusion. Accusing or hinting someone of child trafficking immediately gets a channel removed from YouTube and your money feast ends. Is this the truth in real life, Tim? Because I don't believe that's the case. There are creators that have channels that are based on talking about child trafficking. People tell their stories on YouTube. People talk about other people's stories, and people talk about cases, and people speculate because it's a real thing that happens in real life more often than we'd like to think possible. Of course, people are going to speculate on that, and especially with Don's past. He's admitted to SA in his past. There are sex offenders all over the place in Summer's area. Of course, it's going to come up and be speculated on. Hold on a second. Sorry, my husband doesn't understand when I'm trying to record something that he can't come in and just like start talking to me. All right. So of course it's going to come up and be speculated on and talked about. That's people's right to think how they want and to give their own opinions. Tim goes on, likewise, the FBI has your names. Is this supposed to be making some people shake in their boots or what? Is this supposed to stop people from saying what they think? I'm not saying it's okay to attack anybody. I just think there's a difference between attacking and stating your opinion. There's also a difference between attacking and speculating. If you don't want people to speculate about Don and Candace having something to do with Summer's disappearance, talk to Ronnie Lawson and see if he can clear them publicly, and you can put that on the media, and that the hate will slow down, right? But he won't, though, because they're still suspects. Tell Don and Candace to either get off YouTube or start talking more about their missing daughter, Summer. It seems Tim wanted them offline once, and they didn't listen. The hate for Don and Candace doesn't outweigh the love for Summer. Tim continues, the following rules are clear. This isn't anger, this is truth. Then there are the YouTube rules listed below, which are here are some examples of content that's not allowed on YouTube, and it gives all these examples of the content that's not allowed on here. Repeatedly showing pictures of someone and then making statements like, look at this creature's teeth, they're so disgusting. Nobody does that to Don or Candace that I have ever seen. Why would they? Targeting an individual based on the membership in a protected group, such as like Don does that himself. Don's the one that does slurs and all that. Targeting an individual, making claims they are involved in human trafficking in the context of a harmful conspiracy theory where the conspiracy is linked to direct threats or violent acts. Nobody's doing that either. Using an extreme insult to dehumanize an individual based on their intrinsic attributes. For example, look at this dog of a woman. She's not even a human being. She's not even a human being. She must be some sort of mutant or animal. Okay, Tim, great examples, but nobody's doing that I've ever seen. And I've been around here for a while, and I've never seen that. That's just crazy. Let's go ahead and look at Find Summer Wells' Facebook page. Okay, yeah, I'm sharing this tab. Cool. All right, so our official information site is now here. All right, 14 hours ago. October 2021, we went to LA to go on the Dr. Phil show to introduce Summer Wells to a national and international audience. The painfulness of this trip is beyond current words. Our hotel was on Hollywood Boulevard across from the Chinese Theater. The gloss and vanity of this area seemed like such a bitter contradiction to what the Wells and their children were trying to process from this tragic event that exploded into the entertainment industry, from YouTube to Hollywood. All 4 children were constantly on our minds and hearts, but nothing and no one can translate what the parents' shattered souls were experiencing. At this point in October of 2021, it was robotic, surreal, a daze of days. Tim Mullen. Why can't they say these things themselves? And when did Tim become like, this isn't what a media manager even would do? Like, why would the media manager be going on vacation with them? And I know it wasn't supposed to be a vacation. It was supposed to be going on Dr. Phil, but they made it like a vacation. I mean, they did, let's be honest. I'm not saying they can't do that or they don't have the right to do that, but that is what it was like. All right. We've got these very low-grade pictures. They're working on a new flyer. Do not print the current one. Still has the reward fund listed. Where's that flyer at, and why didn't you get that out a while ago? Should have had that out a while ago, Tim. I mean, honestly. Really. Should have had that out a while ago. Oh, wow. This is an example of things that you shouldn't put on here. Like, why do you want junk like this on here? You know? Right. I'm going to get off of here. I think my son's up. But thanks for being here. I just wanted to go over the stuff that Tim Mullen was saying on here because I thought it was really inappropriate and I couldn't not say anything about it. So thanks for being here with me. I appreciate you guys. All right. Have a nice day.